This is a small selection of some of the high velocity powder actuated tools that I have in my collection. High velocity tools or standard velocity tools are no longer used in the United States and many other countries around the world. They have quite a bit more power than the low velocity tools that are now on the market. Because of that, if you happen to run across one of these, use it with caution. If you do not know how to operate it, please don't. Mistakes have been made. Alright, so let me start with this one right here. This is from the Power Anchors Corporation. It also has another name on the opposite side. Model Bauer Picklemot. Whatever that means. Probably the actual manufacturer. For some reason I'm thinking this tool may have been made in Germany. This is a 25 caliber tool. Power Anchor Corporation was in New York City. The way that this tool operates, like many powder actuated tools, it breaks down in the middle. That's where you load it. This one here is a 25 caliber and it has an automatic eject on it. Many of them use breech plugs. And like most powder actuated tools, the spall guard rotates. The rotating spall guard was so that you could get into narrow access areas. Okay. Later on, due to accidents and stuff, that was eliminated, along with some other special spall guards and stuff that they had made for them back in the day. Nothing spectacular about this tool. I don't know how many were made. I don't know how long Power Anchor Corporation was in business or anything like that. So if you have any information on it, I would appreciate it. It doesn't stand up very well like most of the others either. This is the Fix Rammer Champion. Fix Rammer Champion is made in West Germany, or was made in West Germany. They operated out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and were in business for many, many years. After a while, they became more of a distributor than a manufacturer. It too, very similar to that one, breaks down in the center. And unlike it, this does not have a rotating guard. It does have a guard that came with it that is flat on one side that you could use for narrow access. Also, these segmentations here were for a silencer, and this tool actually is pretty silent for a high velocity tool. It's a pretty neat tool. One that always intrigued me from the earlier photos, from catalogs and stuff. Another one that intrigued me enough to where I got one is this Omar tool. This is the Model 77. One of the older salesmen in the business told me that the Omar 77 got its name because it only cost $77. The front end of it is rather cheaply made. The spall reducer does rotate. It ain't easy, but it does rotate. There we go. So you have narrow access with this one too. Notice they don't stand up very good when you put it like that. One of the other people that was been in the business forever and a day had told me that the Omar 77 had been made for the military and that it was not available to the public. I don't know where he got that. He might be confusing it with another tool because they did have it in their literature as the Omar 77, and it is marked as the Omar 77. This tool, because it is an inexpensive tool, breaks down differently. You got to pull, and there you go. I don't think you can take the barrel out of it. Maybe the barrel, but this is all one piece. And to put it back together, You miss. There you go. Not exactly easy to do. You really got to get the hang of that one. That is the Omark 77, and one of the reasons I like it is because of its nice space age looks, especially when you get around this atomic age logo on there. The grip of it reminds me of the Klingon phasers. Then we have one of the more common tools out there. This was one of the biggest sellers. This is the Ramset Jobmaster MD122. They had this on the market, Ramset did, from probably around 1955 all the way up until the 80s under different versions. Many of them will look a little different. This one dates from about the mid-60s. Because of this decal on here, you can pretty well get that idea. They didn't have that decal on many years. Rotating spall guard on that too. The later ones were more angled off here. There is a rod inside here that when you push this button, where's that button at? The rod pops out, and that was some kind of safety gauge. I forget exactly what it was supposed to do. But it was some way of checking the base plate, if I remember right. Now it's going to take me a while to figure out how to get that sucker back in there. There we go. Also, some of them, I'm not really sure when, but maybe it was the early 70s, they had a metal piece down here instead of rubber. The older ones had green labels on them. Green instead of red. Those probably were the 50s. And they also only had one screw in the back. Oh yeah, and also the firing pin is a little colored there. I believe it's yellow. When you close the tool, the firing pin will pop out. And if you don't see that firing pin pop out all the way, they say don't fire it or something like that. It's been a long time since I've read the manual on this. This one has an interlocking breech. You can see it right there. An interlocking breech on there. This is your breech plug. My God, that breech plug's in pretty good shape. This is one of the industry standard tools from the 60s on through the 70s into the 80s. Old Faithful is what one person called it. And this rod here was for ejecting the load. You would push that tool on there, that breech plug on there, and it would eject the load. In there and stuff, and so there's your. Here's another of the real common tools. There's a lot of these sold. This is actually a Diamond D440. Probably more common out there was the Omark 330. Same tool, it just had different names on it. I was recently informed that Diamond had it out on the market first. Don't know what that means, but that's what I was told. Model D440. This is another high velocity tool. This one is a 25 caliber, and the 25 calibers in this model had an ejector. 22 had a breech plug. This one, if you break it open, you'll see that the ejector popping up there. Other models of 22 calibers had the breech plug. Now, when I first got this tool, it had been a long time since I had fired. I used to repair these from time to time. Good tools. Really good, solid, heavy tools. Matter of fact, this is the one that China picked to copy. There's a Model 660 out there that is made from China, and don't think they're imported into the United States. I have been told many times that they're illegal. High velocity are illegal. I'm not sure if illegal is the proper term, but you definitely don't want it on the job site. It's not OSHA approved at all. But back to this tool. When I got this tool not too long ago, I decided to fire it, and I used a dipstick. The power adjust in the day was quite a bit different. You would use something like this, which you would twist, and lock, and that would put you at your level you want. This is not the one in the tool, but this is one that's one from the fix rammer actually. But by dipping the nail into the tool, you get lower power out of it. And let's see. Well, because I wasn't sure what I should do with the tool, I decided to go ahead and dipstick it down to a level 2, as it tells you in your owner's manuals on powder actuated tools. If you're not sure, you start at a lower level. It's a good thing I started there, because at a level 2 it was capable of sheeting a piece of plywood down in a proper fastening to 4,000 psi concrete. 3/4 inch plywood, no, it was 1/2 inch plywood with a 1.5 inch pin. So it penetrated into the concrete a full inch at low power. So that tells you how much power these things can have. The last tool I have up here is the Unicef Rk 5000. This was most likely the last high velocity tool designed in the United States. Rk 5000. The Rk stands for Roy Koff, who did a lot of designing on some of these older tools and stuff. He'd been in business for a long time, and this was the last tool he worked on, and that's why the tool was named after him. The last tool he designed, not necessarily worked on. This is easy to break open. You twist, pull back, go like this, and then you get your breech plug out, eject your load. You'll notice that this does not have a twisting base plate on it either, so you can't do any close access shooting with it. Like I said, they did away with those by the 1980s. Those were all gone. Every one of them was stationary. And this was designed probably in the mid-80s. This is the second generation of that tool. It was only on the market for a few years, so it's probably pretty rare. The first design, the base plate screws up into the housing, and it goes about right here, and this outer tube stops here and tapers into that housing. They did this for gas escape, and let more gases out of the tool. Had issues with blowback on it. And so that is a small collection of some of my high velocity tools. Again, high velocity tools are more powerful than the modern powder actuated tools, and accidents, injuries can occur. While we're here, we'll just take a quick look at this one. Oh, not enough room on the table. This is the Mark 410. The big brother to the 460. What makes this different? Well, let's break it down in the center, and let's look at that 38 caliber breech plug there. The Mark 410 is a 38 caliber powder actuated tool that was capable of shooting through an inch of steel. This is in the literature, it's no BS. This tool could go, and others that were out there, could go through an inch of steel. So think about that when you pull the trigger on some of these tools. They are capable of doing a lot more than you're used to. If anybody has any more information on these tools, I would appreciate it. I would like to know a little bit more about them. I'm not really sure why I picked to collect powder actuated tools. Not a lot of information out there on them. But I do collect them. I have a few other offshoots. Nothing spectacular, some drills and stuff. But these are my, this is a little bit of my collection of the high velocity tools. And maybe we'll put some single videos on some of them someday. Like this maybe. Maybe we won't. We'll just see how things go along. All right, y'all have a good day.